Water delivery to Slate and Silver Quarries in Zherbai Quarries, Part 2. Hello there everybody and welcome to another exciting episode of SnowRunner here at OpenFed Gaming. I am the OpenFed. When we finished Part 1 of this water delivery, we had an unfortunate ending to our trip that we now tried to rectify. And just before we go on to explain what happened, we fell off the cliff here. Now, if you keep your left-hand side tires on that flat area of rock that I'm going over right now, you're going to be okay. What I tried to do was the colossal mistake of trying to avoid something on the road. And by doing that, they forced you to go too far wide, and we fell off the cliff. It wasn't a lot of fun. Anyhow, we are in our trusty Avenhorn A15 and we are delivering water to the new Slate Quarry and the Silver Quarry that we just finished. The Silver Quarry took all the water that we had in our tank, which was 2,000 liters, and now we've got 1,800 liters of water left in the tank on top of the truck that we got to deliver to the bottom of the new Slate Quarry. Now we're dragging our trailer with us because, like I mentioned in part 1, if you ever have a task to do in SnowRunner where they want you to go and pick up a trailer or pick up anything that you got to pick up, make sure you keep it with you even after you emptied it or if you've used it, just in case, until the task is completely over, because you never know what they're going to ask you to do with it. Now this quarry is kind of difficult to get around, as you can hear the rocks breaking around you and you can see them falling if you get too close to the edge, just like that. And if you happen to be standing on or driving over top of some of those broken pieces, you will go down, which is what happened to the OpenFed the other day. So it was a surprise ending, but we recovered the truck, drove back to the quarry, got down to the bottom, got the Kenworth, which is still parked at the bottom, to help us pull the trailer down off the side of the cliff, hooked back up to it, drove back up, and here we are. We're going at her again because we still have to finish the task because it's not done yet. This is one of the last few remaining tasks. There's not a lot left, but I think a couple more after this, and then it's on to just the contracts. Now we have a couple little problem areas like this one here. Make sure you go through them slowly because in a dip like this, you know that the Avenhorn's got that big long nose, so you want to try and keep it from becoming a problem in the dirt. So anyhow, we are climbing out of here pretty good, and we're getting pretty close to the top here now. So most of the really problem areas where we've gotten by, which is a good thing. There's a crack in the rock up ahead here, I believe, but with the twin steer that we got on the Avenhorn, it's not much of a problem, no issue there at all. Now we're gonna pull this trailer out all the way out of the quarry and then up along the top a little ways until we have to disconnect from them to go into the direction of the new Slate Quarry, because there's no point in dragging them all the way to the bottom of the new Slate Quarry and all the way back up again. We might as well just go with just the truck itself. So that's what the plan is. And then if anything comes up before the task is over that says we have to do something with it, then we will know. And if not, then we can just leave it exactly where we've dropped it, because it's really of no use to us anymore after we come out of the quarry here. So here's another little bit of a problem area that we just had a little bit of trouble getting around. The Avenhorn, he chugs through it, and you just gotta go slow. Like I said, when I came down by that part where I fell off the cliff, I was already over too far and the rock broke away underneath the tires, so it wouldn't have mattered how slow or fast I was going down. Yeah, and I tell you, it's not a good feeling when your truck starts sliding sideways and starts falling off. You got nowhere to throw your winch onto, so that's not gonna help you any. So you just got to sit there and kind of watch them going, oh But you know, you think outside the box and have a backup plan. There's always a way to rectify it. There's always a way to fix it. Now the truck got stuck on the cliff, and he didn't fall all the way down to the bottom, so I had to recover. I didn't have any choice. Now I might have been able to grab him with a winch with the Kenworth from below, but I didn't know if there was going to be a problem with the tank and the water, so I figured I'll just recover, drive around, make sure that it's full of water, and come over, and we'll try again. We're never going to be defeated that easily. Now we're coming to the top of the quarry, and we're almost out of it here. We're almost out of it. At the top here, we're just going to go over that little berm there, and on the other side, I believe, is a little bridge that we got to go over, and then we hang right. This quarry, the Silver Quarry, we haven't been into too many times, but the new Slate Quarry is pretty familiar to us by now. We've been in and out of that quarry a few times, delivering stuff and picking stuff up. I think we even pulled a big construction rig trailer out of there. Anyhow, here's that little bridge that I was talking about, and we got to just go over there and then crank her hard to the right. And that building right there that you see in front of you, that's the logistics center. So it's kind of a scientific area, I suppose, for SnowRunner, the logistics center. And we got to go down the track a little ways, and then we're going to have to cut off to the right is where the entrance to the new Slate Quarry will be. And all through here, you just got to kind of just look at the lay of the land and try to keep the truck fairly level. But the Avenhorn does a pretty good job in that anyhow. He's got such a wide stance with the dualies underneath, a low center of gravity. He's very responsive on the road, lots of power, and just an absolute joy to drive. And I know I say it every time I drive him in a video, but it just amazes me the way how nicely he drives and reacts on the terrain. You know, it's just a fantastic vehicle that can do almost anything for you. Almost, not quite. He lacks the ability to carry a crane when he's got a flat deck, which would have been a real big plus if he could have. But it's not always necessary or needed. But a crane is a nice emergency tool to have. It's kind of like not having your winch all of a sudden. So try and operate without that. It becomes a little difficult, but it can be done. Now we're going to leave the trailer right there, because like I said, from here on in, it's just going straight down to the entrance of the quarry, and then it's just a trip all the way down to the bottom. And hopefully we won't fall off the edge of the cliff anywhere along there, and we can drive all the way down and drive all the way back up without any real problems. Although we do know there's a couple of little problem areas down in this quarry too. They have them in every one of them. You know, they're not going to let you drive all the way down to the bottom and all the way back up just like that without any incidents. They're going to try and trip you up somewhere along the line. Anyhow, this is going to be the final part of the Way of the Water task. Like I said, one of the last few tasks left to be done. I think there might be a couple more, but I'm not quite sure. But we're quickly coming to the end of Zherbai Quarries, after which I'm pretty sure we'll probably be moving to Austria or to... I'm not sure yet. We'll have to check it out. We might even do a little bit of snow tasks in Quebec. That'd be kind of cool. Get a little bit of Quebec, a little bit of snow region in there, and then come back to the dirt and the mud again. Anyhow, we'll decide that when we get to the end. We still got a couple of contracts and quite a few jobs and tasks, whatever you want to call them, to do in those contracts. And each task could consist of 2 or 3 or 4 different things that you got to do. So we might be busy with the Almaty region for a little bit longer. This is the entrance. I always call this the entrance right here because that's when we start going down. And it's starting to get a little dark a little too dark for the Opafet's liking, so we're gonna have to just change that time ahead a little bit so that we can see a little bit better. Even though the sky is still nice and blue, you can see everything fine, but this is a little bit better for me. Now, not too fast. We don't want to bounce the truck around too much. You notice that the faster you go, the more that truck will bounce in the rocks. And this is a really bad quarry for boulders and rocks laying around. It's not a smooth drive. A couple of little mud pits, but it's not an easy quarry to run through. Like this part right here is a little narrow. You want to make sure you stay on the right hand side. There again, I always stress, don't go through these too fast, because if you go through them too fast and you happen to hit a rock on your, say, your right hand side tire, and it pushes your truck over or bounces it over, it could bounce you right to the edge of the cliff. But the slower you go, the less it'll bounce you and the less hazard it'll be. But there's a lot of rocks laying around in this particular quarry track, I'll tell you that. And then you got this little back and forth through here by these big boulders. Why they couldn't have taken those boulders out is beyond me. You know, they only need to take the one out. They don't have to take all three of them out. And I guess maybe they should give the Opafet a backhoe. We can pull them out of there. Pull them out of there with the Avenhorn. Hook a chain onto it. And a little bit of a mud pit again, and we'll get to the bottom fairly quickly here. It won't take too long. Then we're going to drop off the water at the bottom, and it'll either say that the task is done, or if we need to do something else, that it will tell us. Probably with the water trailer, the tanker, whatever you want to call it, the water carrier. It's got several different names, I suppose. And as we're ripping around here, another little bit of a mud path to go through. Like I mentioned before, when you go through these with a truck like the Avenhorn or the Plaid 450 or the Kenworth, or even the smaller trucks like the Mack Defense and the Tega, they get through pretty good. But when you have to come down to the bottom of the quarry with a Scout, like say the Ford 750, not so much the Tuz, he's pretty strong through there, but the Ford 750, he gets stuck in that mud and it takes you a little bit longer. You go, wow, I used to get through there pretty quick, but I guess that was with the big trucks. So just keep that in mind if you got to come down with a Scout to try and stay to the edges of the mud pits. Don't go right through the middle of them, because that's usually where they're the worst. And the other thing you got to remember, because we only have one map and we're running back and forth on the same roads, if you never go to a different region, which means you're sticking to the Almaty region, your map, the mud tracks and these mud pits, they get worse and worse and worse because you keep driving over them, and the effect is cumulative, so it gets worse in the game. That's the way it's coded for you to drive through. Big crack in the rocks there, and it makes the pits a little bit worse. I've noticed it in a few areas, not so much in the quarries here, but then again, like I said, the quarry pits weren't too bad, and the big trucks, they go through them pretty easily. So, but there's a few other areas on the map that I've noticed where it's been getting pretty bad. So maybe I might have to, first we're going to have to back up a little bit because we're stuck on that backhoe bucket laying on the ground. That's the one drawback from putting it into the high range of the low gear. You got to back right out of it to get to automatic, or put it all the way to reverse before you can go backwards. And this here is a little bit of a problem area. It is, I don't know, I don't like it. It tries to push you to the side and off the edge. It's not very flat or stable, so it's a little bit of a problem area. But if you take if you take it slow, you're going to be okay. And down here, like I said, I mean, it gets pretty rocky. So you want to go faster because you want to get to the bottom, but these rocks keep you from going too fast. But you can't be too worried about them. Like I said, with that ledge in the other quarry, they try to make you go to one side or the other, to make you avoid boulders or whatever. And when you do, a lot of times if you're on a narrow track, you'll end up going too close to the edge of the track and you'll fall off, just because you were avoiding a boulder that you could have run over. So just remember that. We'll never forget that. I knew it, and I still made that mistake. I thought there was enough room there to go around it, and there just wasn't. Anyhow, we're at the bottom of the quarry, and I do believe we're going to go straight down here toward the end, and that's where we got to drop it off. Now we're down to, and there again, you see, when you're driving like this and you're fully involved in the game, you sometimes forget the little details like the fuel. Now we started with a 400-liter full tank of fuel when we left the bottom of the Silver Quarry, and now we're down to 120 liters almost. But we still got our surplus fuel. So first we're going to drop off the water. Then we're going to, oh, see, there you go. Bring to the logistics center the water carrier trailer. We're going to move the time forward. Always important. And we're going to refuel from our Defender tank, which is 160 liters. So now we got 278 liters of fuel, hopefully enough to get us to the logistics center, which is still a little ways away. We're not there. We got to climb all the way back out of the quarry here, and you saw the logistics center when we came out of the other quarry. It's not far away. Hopefully we'll have enough fuel to get there. If not, we're going to have to send out a scout truck or something to fuel us up, because we're so close to finishing the job now. But anyhow, like I said, when you get asked to go pick up a trailer to go fill it up and deliver it somewhere, you usually have to do something with that trailer too. As it was the third stage of this job. First 2,000 liters to the Silver Quarry, and 1,800 liters to the new Slate Quarry, and then we got to take that trailer to the logistics center. That's a big job, doing 3 separate things for one task. But that's the way it was set up, and we're going to do it, because we're not far away now. Not too far away. We just got to climb out of here, and we're just going to chug along. The Avenhorn doesn't have too much of a problem, except for that one little area, that one little spot. I really don't care too much for that spot. I'm not too worried about the boulder area like this, because like I said, I do try to follow my own advice, where don't worry too much about where they're laying. Just drive in the tire tracks where the other vehicles have gone before you. It'll bounce you around a little bit, but not much of a problem. But this area just up here, not my favorite area right here, because you got to almost point your truck downwards at an angle, and then you got to climb up on the other side there, and it's just, it's a little dicey as far as I'm concerned. So that's why I always go really slow over top and make sure that I get through it. There we go. You made it through okay. And then we get by the old wreckage laying on the road here. You'd think that they could just all kind of push it into the corner there, and then it'd be out of the way, right? Make it a little bit easier for the trucks to get through, but I guess that's the point. You don't want to make it too easy for the Opafed. And we're going to climb up this little area. This one here too, well, that's where it's the big crack in the rock. It looks freaky. It just looks kind of weird and freaky to me when you go over top of it. But like I said, when you got a single axle and you put the front end in there, that axle, that whole front end goes in pretty deep because the crack is pretty wide. And then you got to try and hope that your back tires can push your front out of there. Not the way to do it, I suppose. But we don't have to worry about that with the Avenhorn. He's got the twin steer, which I really, really enjoy driving. The twin steer on the Avenhorn and the Western Star twin steer. He's got a double front. The Plaid's got the double axle in the front. So does the Dairy Special. And all very capable trucks of doing this particular job, like I said before. You know, but I like this. I like the Avenhorn A15, the original Dragon wagon. It might not be the #1 truck in SnowRunner, but it is definitely one of the top trucks in my fleet. Maybe not for you, but it is for me. And as you can see, when you stay a little bit to the side, the mud pit is not quite as bad. So it's always prudent with a little vehicle, a Scout or a little truck, try to stay to the sides of the mud pit if you do have to go through it. If you cannot avoid them, just go around the outside of it. Now we're getting pretty close to the top. And then we just got to find that trailer and hook back up to it and deliver it. That's not too bad. We're almost there. This has been a long video, but a very good one, I believe. I think it was really enjoyable to make, I'll tell you that. A lot of fun to drive, except for the part where I fell off the cliff. That wasn't all that much fun. Of course, the first thing you think is, oh no, we're ruined. But no. Just relax. We can put it back together again. We don't need $6 million to rebuild them either. For those of you that catch the reference. Anyhow, like I said, that once we get through that little area there, we're almost at the top. We just got a little climb to go, and then we're out of it. Wonderful, wonderful job. You can always tell when the Opafet's a little bit worried about being too close to the edge of the cliff. He starts hugging the hillside a little bit tight. This one here, this area too, looks a little freaky when you're going over it. Looks a little, yeah. But you got lots of room. You got lots of room. It looks like you got less than you really have. But it's okay. And this is the last little hill to climb to get out of the quarry, and then we're out. When I tell you, all the way from the water tower, all the way around into the Silver Quarry, down to the bottom, back up to the top, into the new Slate Quarry, down to the bottom, back to the top, and now out to the logistics center. It's been an absolutely awesome task. Almost finished with it. Just a little bit of four-wheeling here. I'm not sure which quarry this one is to our left. I think that might be the Silver Quarry, because we had to go around the top end to be able to get over here. Yeah, that's the Silver Quarry, and this is the new Slate Quarry. I'm not sure what the last quarry is called, and it's the smaller one of the three, I believe. Back over this little bridge again. Yeah, we're almost there. You can see the little spyglass. That's where the trailer is, and the little down arrow, that's where you got to deliver it. They give you good directions, but sometimes they don't always tell you where the task activator is, or what you got to do to activate the next task if they're in sequence or whatever. Sometimes you just have to do them and they'll pop up for you. It's a real puzzly type of game, which I really enjoy doing, and it's a driving game, a slow driving game, which is really enjoyable for me. I don't like not with the controller. I can't do the fast driving. I have to do a game like this. If I do any fast driving, any sim racing, then I have to have a steering wheel and a set of pedals, because the hand controller just, I don't have the coordination for it. I've never really played video games that much, but this at a slow pace, I guess it's just, that's for me. Now we're just going to back her up to the trailer. And one mistake I always make, whenever I back up to a trailer, I never seem to get close enough. And I don't know what the idea is of knowing when you're close enough to attach to it. Like, you'd think that that's close enough. Nope, trailer is too far away, so you better back up a little more. And it happens to me almost every time, but that's okay. That's all right. Okay, let's put the light forward so we can see, and put it into the high range of the low gear. And we've got just a short little drive to the logistics center just down the road here. Just a little bit of four-wheeling. There again, just take your time and stay on the tracks. Don't veer off the track, because you don't want to get on some uneven ground or go down a little hole and tip your trailer or your truck. You certainly don't want to do that now at the very end of your task, and then have to call out for help again from the TUS or somebody to flip you back up. We don't want to do that. We want to be able to get there now in one piece, especially seeing as how we can see the building as soon as we go around this corner. Yeah, we can see part of the building right there. Absolutely awesome. Just love it. Just love it. Another big job done. Yeah, really enjoyed this one. I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you are watching it for tips and tricks or just for the fun of it, makes no difference. I hope you enjoyed it. Share it with your friends if you enjoyed it. Anyhow, I hope to see you back at OpenFed Gaming for more SnowRunner videos coming up real soon. We'll try to upload them daily. Until then, you've been delivering water to the Slate and Silver Quarries in the Zherbai Quarries Part 2 with me as your driver, OpenFed. Have a great day.